What's good, my kings and queens? Hey, Bible babes. Hey, beloveds. It is your lovely host today, Micah Moore. And today we'll be going over another Bible story from the Big and Beautiful Bible Study. You can find it on TikTok Shop or Amazon. And we'll be reading the story of Hagar. If you don't know, we'll give a brief synopsis. So basically, God told Abraham and Sarah, that they were going to conceive. We know him to be Isaac. He told them that they would conceive. Years have gone by and they became desperate. Sarai asked her maid, Hagar, if she would lay down with her husband and have a baby, because she thought that, well, God promised me a child. He must give me this child through Hagar. That may be the only option because I'm barren. I'm old. This must be what he meant, thinking for God. So Hagar laid down, they had a baby, she got pregnant. As Hagar is showing, Hagar does start to get a little hasty with Sarai because she's cocky. She's like, oh, I have a child, I conceive with your man, and you can't even conceive. So Sarai was mad. She went to her husband. She said, you gonna let this lady talk to me? He said, you told me to lay down with her. You handle it. That's your maid. She was so mean to Hagar. Hagar ran off into the desert. This story talks about seeing the value in other people, and sometimes when we are so self-centered in ourselves. So please go get our Bibles. It is located Genesis 16, chapter 16, chapter 21, verse 8 through 21. Okay, so I'm going to be reading from the Big and Beautiful Bible Study. So the synopsis: a pregnant Hagar flees amidst threat to her and her child's existence. While in the wilderness, an angel sees her and shares God's future for her. The outline. So Hagar's story begins wrapped up between Abraham and Sarai. Hagar's story begins wrapped up between Abraham and Sarai. It's wrapped up. It's in the center of their story. But she has her own story. Don't get it twisted. You're not in someone's background. You may be in someone else's story, but God got a plan for you. God has promised to make Abram and Sarai into a great nation with many descendants. But a decade has passed and still they find themselves bearing no children. In an act of desperation and dismissal of God's promise, key word is what Sarai did. Sarai decides to take matters into her own hands. How often do we take matters into our own hands? God has a plan. God may not be there when you want him, but he is always on time. And sometimes we put a deadline on God. We start clocking him and we say that you need to hurry up and do this by this time. So we take matters into our own hands. The hard part about that is that what we sustain outside of the will of God, what we do outside of the will of God, we must sustain outside of the will of God. The beautiful thing about it, if you don't know, is that God still blessed them, even though they took matters into their own hands. That may not be the story for all of us, so be careful. Okay, so in an act of desperation, Sarah decides to take matters into her own hands. She exercises authority over her maidservant, Hagar, to serve as a surrogate mother, giving her to her husband, Abram, in hopes to have descendants through Hagar. Soon, Hagar becomes pregnant, and Sarai, out of jealousy and anger, because I would too, despises Hagar and mistreats her. Hagar finds herself in a subservient position alone as an enslaved woman. But in an act of her own agency, Hagar flees into the wilderness. There, the angel of the Lord earnestly seeks Hagar. The angel asks questions with great compassion. He was compassionate with her even when Sarai was not. And Sarah's the one that got her into this. Think about it. She was a maid servant. She was a maid. She had to do whatever her master, her owner, basically told her to do. So her owner said, okay, you need to go lay down with my husband and have a child. Yes, it's a beautiful thing to have children, and that's what a lot of women wanted. But she had to listen and obey to what she was saying. Then, after she did it, her maid, her owner, got upset at her, treated her harshly from something that her maid did. You ever got in trouble for something that your boss told you to do, but you had to take the heat for it? That's basically what is going on in the situation. Um, the angel asks questions with great compassion and care as the angel lets Hagar tell her own story. He gives her a voice in the situation. Where have you come from and where are you going? This is what the angel asks. Where are you coming from and where are you going? The questions spur Hagar and invites her to search for identity, belonging, and acknowledgement of her lived reality. Of course, the angel already knows the answers to them. Yet the angel gives Hagar a voice and an opportunity to feel seen. That is so good because a lot of times, if you see a lot of children, they start acting up, bad children. 9 times out of 10, they just want attention. They want to be seen. And the same thing as mothers. I'm able to talk to other mothers that relate because we want to feel seen. She said, I am running away. What is an enslaved pregnant woman to do in the desert with no provision, no possession, and no covering in a patriarchal enslaving society? She had no man, no money, and no home. And she was pregnant. She finds herself in the desert of her own despair. So, yes, she was in the desert, in an actual physical desert, but she did flee on her own agency. How many times are we enslaved by our minds? How many times are we enslaved by our own actions and decisions for what we decided to do with our lives? And the thing about God, He's running to us to help us. Well, if we invite Him in, He'll help us. He's so forgiving. He's so loving. He says, I know that you're stubborn. I love you because you're stubborn. You want to do what you want to do. I'll still be here. I can't say the same thing for me because if I'm telling someone to do something over and over and over again, like my homegirl, I was telling her to leave that man alone over and over and over again, and she kept messing with the same man and kept getting hurt. At that point, stop talking to me about him. At that point, I'm about to stop being friends with you because you're not being wise. You're being foolish. At this point, you want to do what you want to do. Don't call me when you need help. That's why God is better than me. That's why God is better than most of us because He has compassion. He has empathy. So I love that about Him. But the angel comforts her, values her, and gives her vision for her future. The angel says that she will have descendants that are too many to count, and she will have a son named Ishmael, which means God hears. God hears you. Oh, God is so good. He hears you. He hears your heart's desire. He hears the prayers that you don't pray out loud, that you feel too ashamed to say. He heals you. He hears you. The angel sees Hagar's difficult situation, but declares a new story for her. Where you are right now, God has a new story for you. She started wrapped up in the center of someone else's story, someone else's promise. But God declared a new story for her. God has a new plan for you. What you think that you have for yourself. Whether you were told that you were never good enough, you would never be anything, whether the thoughts in your mind are telling you the same things, God has a new story for you. God has a new plan for you. God has something better for you. I became a teen mom. I would have never thought I would have been a teen mom. Not me, not the baby of the family, not the golden child. I would thought I would never become a teen mom, but God has a bigger plan for me. God is using that teen momhood to relate to other people, to talk to other people, to let them know that you don't have to feel shamed by these decisions that we made in life because God has a better plan. Y'all heard my son? That boy loves to preach. He loves to preach. God has a bigger and a better plan for us than we could ever imagine for ourselves. What's that lady, Eartha Kitt? She was conceived through rape and she was a renowned singer. God has bigger plans than for ourselves than what we think. God has bigger plans for our generations. He's working. Okay? He's working. Clap that He is working.